Dan, got to look at the alignment. A lot of times you feel like you zone on out-of-bounds plays. That's likely not going to be the case here, right?
Well, they zone all the time anyway, but it's a matchup zone. You want to try to prevent the ball from going toward the goal.
Evans has got to put it up. The three-point shot.
During the 2008-2009 year, something special happened in the city of Findlay. This was when oil struck.
This was our senior year for the majority of the team. I don't know, 6 or 7 guys had been there for 4 years, and we'd always had a lot of success in the NCAAII Championship. I think in the 4 years that my senior team was there, I think we won, let's see, Grand Valley won the GLIAC my freshman year, then we won it my sophomore year, then Grand Valley won it my junior year, and then we won it, or wait, did I have that backwards? It was Grand Valley, us, Grand Valley, and then we won it my senior year. So I think after being so successful and being undefeated at that point, it was kind of like it was expected, to be honest, on our team. It would have been killer to lose, but none of us expected to do that. So really it wasn't a lot of celebration. I mean, we were all happy, but we knew we had never had a ton of success in the tournament.
Well, you know, we had most of our players returning from a successful season back in '08. I think in '08 we were 28-5, and we returned all of our starters. In '08 we had been beaten 3 times by Grand Valley, and Grand Valley actually made it to the Elite Eight. I thought they were one of the best teams in the country. They beat us in the regional finals, they beat us in the conference tournament, and they beat us in the regular season. And they had a tremendous team, and they ended up getting beat the first round of the national Elite Eight. But so we knew, and I think most people in our conference knew that we were going to have a very good team. I recall in October of 2008, I was in Atlanta watching my daughter play volleyball, and I got a call from David Buck informing me that we were ranked #1 in the preseason poll, which you know, what wasn't really news that I wanted to hear, or I think any coach really to sort of have that target on your back the whole year, being ranked #1. I think that was a unique and interesting thing about that season, is that we were ranked #1 the entire year. And so, you know, we had to deal with those kinds of issues in terms of our expectations from our fans, expectations from national media, local media. And I think the first 6 or 8 games of the season, it was kind of a burden in that I think at times we tried to do too much. We tried to, you know, really didn't identify the character of our team. And but as the season went along, we seemed to be able to focus on just the next game. We sort of put the national ranking and all the other expectations behind and just focus on the next game and try to be successful. We really had not a lot of thoughts about what might happen in the postseason. We just wanted to win our division, win the conference, host the conference tournament, then host the regional tournament. And those are all building blocks and steps along the way. And if you miss one of those steps, it's pretty hard to advance. So we just focused on the next thing and the next opponent. And we had a tremendous group of players. We had guys who were experienced, athletic, and for the most part, we had kept our composure pretty well.
Definitely one of the most memorable games of my college career. It was great that it was in Croy, because I mean, it's a great environment, even in games in January. But being tournament time, being the game that would send us to the Elite Eight, it was kind of a shootout at times, back and forth, three-pointers, which I was a three-point shooter, so that was right up my alley. Personally, I made a few and was able to get in the mix, so it was one of the funnest games that I've been a part of, and all the way down to the end with the ruling with the guy's foot on the line, and whether or not that was some home cooking or not, I don't know. I've only talked to Findlay fans, and they all swear that his foot was on the line, so it was a heck of a game.
Well, I think one of the big keys was, you know, in winning the regional was being able to host the regional first of all, and that's not an easy. And I think even though we were undefeated that year, that was very close. Some of the teams in the GLIAC were not that strong. Our power rating was not that good, even though we were undefeated. Had we dropped a game, and I was told this by one of the people on the regional ranking committee, had we dropped a game late in the season, either in the regular season or the conference tournament, we may not have been able to host. So, you know, I think the fact that we were able to host, get those games on our home floor, was huge. And you know, anyone that's seen us play, especially when you host regional tournaments, the turnout was unbelievable. I mean, we had unbelievable crowds for those games. The enthusiasm, the energy level was great, and you know, so we were able to win a phenomenal game against Bellarmine. Anybody that was in Croy and witnessed that game against Bellarmine, including the Bellarmine fans and coaches, I talked to several of them the following summer on the recruiting trail, and you know, they all, I think, agreed it's one of the, if not the greatest game they've ever seen, certainly one of the greatest games that anyone's been a part of, and it was phenomenal, and a great ending. So to win in overtime.
From the birthplace of basketball, Springfield, Massachusetts, home to the Hall of Fame, CBS Sports is delighted to bring you the NCAA Division II National Championship. Findlay against Cal Poly Pomona. The Oilers coming from the state of Ohio, and what a road they've taken. #1 seed all the way through, and the most traveled team in the NCAA Division II tournament, Cal Poly Pomona, the upstarts.
You know, that's really an interesting story, because I watch games on television, and they like to mic up the coaches and bring the cameras in the locker room to listen to the last second pep talk that the coach might have. But you know, our pregame routine didn't change at all. We talk rather quietly about the same things we talk about for every game, and that is staying focused, understanding everyone doing their jobs, keeping your physical and mental balance, and everyone contributing. So I didn't come up with any secret message to give them before that championship game. I don't think we needed any special advice. And you know, in a game of basketball, when you play 36 games, you really can't come up with clever lines before each game. So I think we just stayed true to form.
I think that because we had such a good core of upperclassmen, I mean, it was primarily seniors and sophomores on that team. So there weren't a lot of freshmen. Majority of the people that were playing big minutes were seniors, and Marcus, who had been there before in high school, and I mean, he was never not Marcus and focused. The only difference I noticed in the locker room were there were cameras in there, and we worried about that a little bit, or at least I did. I wondered if people would act different in front of the camera, or because usually in the locker room, to keep it loose, we were always just being really goofy, screwing off, and it's not that we weren't focused, it's so tense that you got to do stuff to screw around and keep it light, and we were always like that all season, and I was hoping people wouldn't change because the cameras were there, and we didn't. I mean, we were still doing stupid games and just clowning big time. This story is, me and Aaron have talked about this and what exactly was said, and neither of us can remember exactly. There was talk of game winners and what it would be like to hit a game winner, and whether either of us have, because I think he had in high school and I never had. There was a conversation that was had. Specifically, I don't know what it was or what brought it up, but we've seen things come out about it, and it's like, yeah, what were we talking about? When were we talking about that? But neither of us can remember specifically what was said.
Yeah, we had been up the night before and looking at a lot of different ways of trying to attack their matchup zone. It was very unusual. And we had a variety of things that we do against zones that we used. We put a couple of new things in. Some of them were successful, but by and large, we had a very, very difficult time playing against their matchup zone. And as the game went on, it got worse. And their energy level picked up. Their players were phenomenal in the second half, and we just, we couldn't make a shot. So what a relief to win that thing finally.
Well, really, the first half was a little more. We played a little better in the first half than we did the second half, and so much has been put on how the game ended, and I've seen that highlight probably 100 times, whereas I've only gone back and watched the whole game start to finish maybe once or twice. So I don't remember specifically things that were said. I remember going into halftime feeling good and just hoping we weren't going to let off the gas, hoping we could get it rolling. But you can't help but let it creep into your mind that, if we just take care of this lead, rather than build on it, if we just take care of this lead, then we're in great shape. We just won a national title.
Well, I think the thing that is most difficult is when you lose momentum in a game and trying to get that turned around, especially at the offensive end. We had a variety of things, means of attack, but sometimes your players get in the mode of running plays instead of making plays, and I think that's the mode we got into. We had plays and sets, and we were running plays, and players weren't reading and making plays, and especially when a couple of our leaders, our best offensive players, began to struggle, it really affected everyone on the team. So I look back at the stats of that game, and man, that was probably Josh's worst game of his senior year. And once we lost the momentum, we just could not get it back. We could not.
I had felt great about my shot all tournament. I had a couple games where I had big games for us, making, it might only be a couple 3-pointers, but for me, I felt like I was doing my job, and my shot just felt really good. Even in practice, it just felt really good. So I wasn't, being like I said, a bench player, and I wanted to be a contributor, a positive contributor. I didn't want to go out and try to put up 16 points and carry us at any point in the game. I guess I just wanted to keep doing what I felt like I had been doing, play solid defense, take care of the ball. If I get an open shot, take it and make it.
Well, I think we had, by that point, we were so frustrated. Defensively, we could guard them. They were not a team that were going to go on a huge run. They were a rather patient team, low scoring. We were able to guard them and stay in that game because defensively we didn't break down. We didn't give them a lot of easy opportunities. We didn't let them get on any runs against us. So, but it's like slowly your lead is slipping away, and sometimes that is the most difficult thing to do in the game of basketball, is change momentum. And we could not regain the momentum. We couldn't get easy baskets against their zone. The 3-point shots we did get, we couldn't make, and by that time in the game, we were just totally frustrated, and We were on our last leg, so to speak. Well, actually, it was a jump ball. Yes, and as luck would have it, we had the possession arrow with 2.9 seconds or 2 point whatever it was, 2.7 seconds. Yes, it was a jump ball. Marcus drove, couldn't get to the basket. The ball bounced around. We got into a jump ball situation. 2.9 seconds left, and of course we called timeout. We went out, get ready to run a play. They called timeout, switched to a man-to-man instead of playing their zone on the inbounds play. The play we ran for Tyler Evans, maybe hoping that somebody else might uncover, but Tyler Evans coming off a couple of screens, they defended very, very well. There was a guy right there in his face, and he just took 2 quick dribbles to his left and shot a deep three, and it was all net. It was all net, and the rest is history.
Parker on the inbound, slaps the ball once, looks for a screen, trying to get somebody open. Gets it to Tyler Evans. Tyler with 2 seconds. Tyler with a pull-up three. He got it! He got it! The buzzer! He got it, too! Tyler Evans for a national championship throws in a three-pointer at the end of overtime.
Basically, and if I'm remembering it correctly, everything is, I mean, it's been a few years ago and the moment was pretty big and a lot happened immediately after the moment. But if I'm remembering correctly, I was on the, if you're facing the basket, I was on the left wing. Marcus was taking it out on the baseline. I was on the opposite wing that he was taking the ball out. There was a screen on each block for Morgan and Lee were setting the screens. And I think, and Coach Niekamp specifically said, watch for them to help out on me and slip the screen, just shape right up to Marcus. Hopefully he can get you a ball for, I mean, both those guys were pretty tall and both of them could jump really well. So if they got the ball on the block, I like our chances that they're going to finish or get to the free throw line. And I think everyone was hoping that that was going to happen. So I ran across the baseline, ended up getting the inbound. The defense played it pretty well and let me catch a three-point line, which is, I think, what any defense would want. So the step-back move that I did, that's actually one of my, I guess it would be one of my go-to moves. I don't think the coaching staff liked it at times because it's kind of going away from the contact, but I kind of learned that out of survival, playing with guys like Morgan and Josh and Lee, because if I don't do that, there's a good chance they're going to block my shot. So, and I didn't have much time to do much else, so it was kind of instinct. I took 2 dribbles and to the left, stepped back, and just let it go.
For our players, it was a moment of just pure joy. They were overwhelmed with joy. I think for myself as a coach, I felt more relief. I mean, just relief, because I could see that game slipping away so easily. I don't think as a coach I would have ever forgiven myself for allowing that to happen. So, in a sense, Tyler Evans bailed us all out.
Pure joy. I don't think I was a very flashy player. I don't really like the spotlight at times. So there was some of that where I was just like embarrassed to be the one when I mean, like I said, I was a small contributor to a national championship team. So there was some of that, but overall it was just pure joy.
It's really hard in those situations to put things in the proper perspective. Whether you're a coach or a player, you are so much into game mode. Your mind is so focused, and the minds of the players are so focused that when the game's over, you have a difficult time adjusting to that reality, whatever that reality is, whether you win or lose. And you find almost in a state of a little bit of confusion in being able to make that adjustment and really comprehend what has actually happened. And it takes, I think, a long time to sort of reflect back and put it all in perspective, and maybe even days before you're able to do that, to look back and look at all the things that happened over the week and to put everything in perspective. But certainly as time went on, we realized, you know, it's something to win a national championship. There's no question. Winning a national Division II, NCAA Division II national championship in the game of basketball, every institution in the country has a basketball team. And I don't know how many there are, 400 or 500 maybe in Division II. It's incredible to be able to win a national championship. But on top of that, and even more significant, that I think we didn't even think about, was the fact that we went undefeated.
It was a great ride. I'm glad I have that to take with me for the rest of my life. It's I don't know that I'll ever top it. I got married since then, and I even told my wife on that day, I was like, it's still not as fun as hitting the game winner.
What a rare event. How unbelievable really that whole season was. And as time goes on, even now 8 years later, you're more able to put it in perspective in comparisons to all the other teams, whether it's Division I, II, or III, what have you. But it was truly an incredible year.